Jim, Dale, and Bob met at a AAA meeting that's Abducted by Aliens Anonymous.
Jim, Dale, and Bob were homeschooled together. So we met in co-ops and doing all sorts of different fun things together. But we really, really got to know one another at swim meets. We were all on a swim team and we met each other at swim meets.
And Bob and I, we kind of had a comic book thing going, and that's basically how we became friends.
We had all had different sort of encounters that we didn't like to talk about around, relatives, friends, because, you say stuff like that and people think you're crazy, but which we all were a little bit crazy in our own special way, but, we weren't quite that crazy. So we sort of shared our different, encounters with alien life forms, and, there was sort of a connection there. And my knee is in the camera. There was sort of a connection, We sort of started breaking down how it happened and sort of working it out, and there was sort of this conspiracy deal, We had this whole conspiracy going, and they had cloned us and all of this, and it was weird stuff, man. And so, after that, after we sort of cracked down on that case and took down a horde of alien zombies that were invading Earth. They were invisible, so nobody ever actually saw this happening. It was like this whole secret invasion that you're never going to hear about unless you actually go to the people who were really there. You had to be there, you had to see it, and that's how it all started. And after that, we just sort of we were inseparable because everything had been so crazy for us. And after something like that, how do you go back to your old friends? How do you even go back to your old life? So that's really how it all started for us.
Our real names aren't Jim, Dale, and Bob. Obviously, we made that up. My real name is Travis.
Well, my name's actually Holden, and there's Kendall and Travis. Kendall's Bob, Travis is Dale, and I'm Jim.
My real name's Steven. Just kidding. No, I don't give my real name away on the internet. But I have a real name. It's a great name. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's probably the coolest name you ever heard. But I mean, I like the name Bob too. It sort of fits me. I think. Sort of Bob. It's simple. It's like me. It's simple, but there's a complexity kind of hidden in there that you can't really explain. You think Bob is really simple, but then you think about it and you're like, wait, no. There's something else more to that, You gotta kind of dig deep to see the true meaning. What is Bob? Who is Bob? I think it's really fitting.
RSAJ really got its start, honestly, from iCarly.
We were online on iCarly.com. Yes, it was actually a website. And they had posted a video of them being all redneck hillbillies. And then after that, we're just like, man, we want to make videos like this.
We were watching those videos and we came across the hillbilly video. And we decided to redo that. That wasn't our first video, it was our second video. Our first video was our newscast. But iCarly was basically our inspiration to start doing random stuff and junk.
RSAJ began on July 3rd, 1997. There was this baby born. Probably the most adorable thing you've ever seen. I don't know, I wasn't there, but it probably was. Its name was Jim. Well, we call him Jim, His mama probably called him something else. But we call him Jim, quite affectionately. Unless we're saying, shut up, Jim, nobody likes you. But, we mean that in the nicest possible way. So there was this baby born, and it had this brain that was so big and brilliant. You should have seen it. This brain was huge. It took a long time for this thing to grow into it, but when it finally did, you couldn't tell the difference. Mostly, it has big hair, it kind of covers it up, but it's still there. The brain is still there. And it was just sort of exploding with all these ideas. He was 3 weeks old and he was rambling off all these crazy ideas. And it wasn't until we found these two other guys that sort of would actually listen for more than 15 seconds that his ideas were actually able to take form. And so that's really that's how it started. This crazy baby, and there was also a video camera that I had. And this crazy baby who was now, he wasn't a baby anymore, but he was like, "Hey, you have a video camera?" I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I do." He was like, "Hey, let's make videos." And we're like, "Oh, hey, okay." So that's how it happened.
The way we came up with the name Random Stuff and Junk is really, really interesting. Back in 2009, Kendall would always add the words "and junk" on the back of everything that me or Holden said. It was hilarious. He did it all the time. It almost started to get on our nerves at one point. But we just thought it was really funny. And then also, we would be like, "Wow, that's so random." It was kind of the word of 2009 for us. And, sometimes people would ask us, "Well, what are you doing?" "We're just doing random stuff." And then Kendall would be like, "and junk." And it just kind of stuck.
I don't know where the name came from. It's just like, I don't know. It was like random stuff. Random was this big word we loved using at the time. And stuff, I don't know, I think that came from Travis. And, just random stuff. And then Kendall, oh my goodness, he would get on my nerves by adding "and junk" to everything. Everything. I was like, "How about random stuff?" And he's like, "and junk." And I'm like, okay, that's actually a good idea.
Back then, we were, how old were we? Like 13? 13. The stage in your life where everything is just random. You're just like, that was random. It's not actually random, but you don't understand how the universe works yet. So everything just kind of seems that way. And so you call everything random because that's how your brain processes things that are going on. It's just random. It's no rhyme or reason to it. Because you have a sort of a small teenager brain, so you have to find ways to cope with that. And so I had these different word stages in my life where I liked certain words and phrases. At the time, mine was "and junk." I would add "and junk" to the end of everything ever. Drove Jim crazy. Like he hated the phrase "and junk" for some reason. I don't know why. I thought it was awesome. Still think it's awesome, but he hated it. And so we were trying to come up with a name for our videos, and Jim's like, "Hey, why don't we call it Random Stuff?" Because, the random thing and stuff is a cool word, obviously. And I'm like, "and junk." And he's like, "Actually, that's pretty good, I guess." And so it's just kind of, that's just kind of how it stuck. And I don't know, we thought it was cool.
The video ideas was a group effort mostly, but each of us would think of these little individual small things. Like, we used to just come up with a title and write around the title.
It was basically a group effort. We all had our share in all the ideas. I think the main brainchild of all the ideas basically came from Holden. Me and Kendall would critique them and we would change them up a little bit, but I think the whole inspiration for most of the videos was from Holden.
It really depended on the video. Sometimes I would come up with an idea. Jim would come up with an idea. Dale would come up with an idea. It really depended on who. Sometimes we came up with collaborative things. It just sort of exploded out of nowhere. Like, we would just be talking, and we would have times where we were just like rambling on about something, and we're like, "Man, that's good. We should make a video about that." And sometimes just based off of like funny things in life, like getting abducted by aliens, or being stuck on Earth with only one taco left. That's happened several times in our lives, and I feel like real experiences like that, those are the things that matter most to us. And when you make a video based on that, it's just sort of getting that out of your system. It's really sort of a healing process to it. It's very psychologically good for you.
One of my favorite memories of RSAJ is when we filmed A Christmas Carol. We had a lot of fun doing that video. We were learning how to connect different segments and make it whole. We had a lot of fun with filming it, a lot of fun with experimenting, a lot of fun with editing. And I absolutely enjoyed the entire video making process of A Christmas Carol.
My favorite memory has to be when we filmed Christmas Carol. That was just the best feeling ever. And we're like, dude, we can fade in and fade out people, make it look like people are disappearing and reappearing. That's so cool. Like, that was the video we learned how to do things along while filming and having fun. It was just fun.
Probably the most fun one to film was, I'd say Christmas Carol. It was, I mean, we filmed like all day long. We probably spent like, 6 or 7 hours on that. And, you know, we had all these, you know, sort of cool things we were doing with it. That was the first really big story we tried to tell. And, I mean, it was this big sort of complete storyline. It may not have made a super amount of sense, but it was sort of a big deal for us.
I'd have to say, along with my favorite memory of RSAJ, my favorite video is also A Christmas Carol. Just because of the time and the effort that we exerted into it. It was a lot of fun to make. And junk.
Favorite video totally has to be Quest for the Last Taco. It's just, we need more videos like that. That and Bread Man. So I guess we should also include The Pact. So, those kind of videos. It was just really fun. They're just awesome.
I don't think anything for me is ever going to beat Dr. Mouse. I mean, it was brilliant. It was super rambly, yes, but it was brilliant. We had the whole Scooby-Doo monster deal going on. And the bit with the sword, I love that. And then I got to hold a chainsaw and look super intimidating with it. So that was fun. But yeah, it was just a cool video all around. Either that or not night before Christmas. The Christmas Carol. That's it. That one was brilliant too. I love the whole narration deal. And then all the cool effects with the sort of fade in, fade out thing. That was really cool. We got to set stuff on fire, which is always fun.
In my opinion, the worst RSAJ we ever made was the Random Wars series. Specifically the second one. All it was fight scenes and music. And stupid.
Dewey's Decimal. And on a side note, Random Wars. Those two just make me want to cry and huddle up into a ball, whatever you want to call it. Just, yeah.
Okay, the worst RSAJ video. I'm probably going to have the exact same answer as Jim and Dale, Random Wars. It was, I don't know what was going on with that one. But Dale's waving over here. But it was bad. Like, we tried to make a funny parody, but it didn't really turn out to be a parody of anything at all, except for ourselves. I guess we kind of parodied ourselves with that one. But yeah, it was long, it was rambly, there were too many ideas going on. We tried to make a whole suspenseful 6-parter deal, but we shouldn't try to do things like that because people on the internet have short attention spans, and we have short attention spans. So when we try to do something like that, it just sort of became very rambly and confusing, and even I don't know what was going on half the time.
I had came up with the idea with MOZZO. It was scary. I loved the idea. I still think it's a great idea. I just need to work it out. I need to actually sit down and plan. I planned, but I didn't do good of a job. So, yeah. So right now, MOZZO's dead to us. We've shunned him out of our lives.
MOZZO is stupid. We came up with the MOZZO video idea because Holden wanted a puppet.
There's actually a legitimate story to MOZZO. He wasn't really our idea. He just sort of walked in, well, more like hops. You know, puppets don't really have legs, so they kind of hop around everywhere. He sort of hopped in one day and he had this gun, and he was like, "Hey, you guys, you're gonna make a video with me." And we're like, "Okay, man, just chill out, all right?" And he was like, "I will chill out as soon as we make this video." I'm like, "Okay, just put the gun down. Nobody needs that." He's like, "I need it." It was terrifying. So obviously we didn't really have much choice but to make a video with him, and so we did it just to humor him and also to not die, because life is good and I don't like dying in life. I mean, it is on my bucket list. Would dying be on a bucket list? Would you? I guess it'd be the last thing dying is the last thing on my bucket list. And so, I mean, obviously we made this video with him, and it wasn't the worst thing ever, I guess. I mean, there was the gun to our face most of the time, but I mean, you sort of got used to that after a couple hours. You know, it was just sort of like another prop to us by the end. You know, there was still the threat of death, but if you put it in the back of your head, it's like it's not even there. So, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever. And MOZZO was I guess he was cool. He was trying to kill us, but I guess he was still pretty cool. And yeah, so that was what was up with MOZZO.
Actually, it's MOZZO, and they promised me star stuff. And I'm mad!